that's how it went on, and here I am in Saudi doing business.
That's brilliant. So from oil drilling and refineries now to co-founding an organization, and not just one but two. But let's talk about your current role in as the co-founder and CEO for Tracking, which is an IoT-based application. What exactly does this entail?
So basically, there's a bit of a background about this. So basically, before entering into this, I was into a logistics business. So we had a lot of fleets and transportation going on, and I knew the challenges of the transport industry and the problems which the transporters and the drivers used to have. So from there, we started off building an application in which all the information related to the transporters, the drivers, that comes under one umbrella. And from there, we come out and work on some sort of analytics of all this. So there's a huge data which is involved in all this application, where we know where the driver, when the engine is on, when it's off, how much time he's driving, where he's
so
going.
Fleetmatics and telematics and
exactly. So we in Saudi, the government had enforced this to be mandatory for all the commercial fleet. So that was an edge for us 2 years back when we started off this journey. That we got a big advantage from the government as well, that we got integrated with them, and we were one of the early companies who got the execution and the licensing of this particular project with them.
That's brilliant, and it's also a matter of a lot of personal interest to me, because I happen to be an expert in this area, leading one of the US-based firms who are involved in logistics and essentially all the AI technology that powers the physical economy. So there's a lot of potential there, and hats off to you for tapping into it. But we still feel like, let's talk about a little bit in the context of Pakistan. We saw that a startup came up in the name of Chuck It In, who's trying to do something similar. However, we haven't seen much success here. And the recent case of the floods, if anything, they prove is that we need such solutions in the context of Pakistan. What is your take on that?
So I personally think that there's a huge requirement in Pakistan as well for all this sort of technology, and it can make a big difference. So for instance, like over here, when we talk about weight sensors, so it really gives a road safety elements encountered into it. Then when we know that, okay, fine, how much time the driver is driving, that gives another, privilege on the behavior of the driver, of the safety of the driver, that, after every 2 hours, he needs to take a break, and he needs to have, a good sleep and all those stuff. It should not be over-exerted. These things.
Hours of service violation shouldn't be there, essentially.
Yeah, so there's a huge potential, and I think we need to be there. There are startups who are working on it, like Truck It In. They're doing what they're trying, and I think once they really crack the code, it can really exponentially go, and it can help the community a lot.
Absolutely. Now, for those of you who don't know, viewers that are watching, Mr. Asim Jamil is also the founder for Qaid Ventures. So would you like to tell us a little bit about your role here at Qaid Ventures?
So Qaid Ventures, by the name itself, if you see, the Qaid is the leader. So it's a venture of leadership. So when we started off this journey of the tech ecosystem and the technology startups, so we faced a lot of challenges in the technology, in understanding the business, the modeling, and all those stuff, then the fundraising and all that. And we were lucky enough that we had some good friends who helped us, and we moved on in that direction. But we learned in this journey that there are so many startups, there are so many founders who actually have a very good idea and have a passion, but they are unable to do or reach to the success level. So that's where we created Qaid Ventures to help the Pakistani startup ecosystem, to make sure that the startups who are starting, we give them the full journey. We tell them that how you need to start, how the product development needs to be done, how your business modeling needs to be done, how are you going to raise the funds, what are the legal structuring needs to be done. So that's a full umbrella of Qaid Ventures, where we teach the leaders, we advise the startups, and we help them to reach to the success level and creating good leaders. So that's
amazing. So it's everything from the pitch deck to raising capital to operational efficiency.
Yeah, we also invest. We have like early stage seed funds where we invest for in startups who really show that passion and they are willing to go forward, and we help them to expand in the other regions, GCC region especially as well.
Brilliant. Now, Mr. Asim, I have a follow-up question. Let's backtrack a little. You basically founded Kite Ventures, but if I were to ask you, not in the context of the GCC countries, but specifically laser focus on Pakistan, um, how do you view the startup landscape of Pakistan? Where do you think are the topmost challenges and opportunities for us?
So I think the Pakistani startup ecosystem is still at the beginning stage, and there is a lot room to go, and there's a huge potential. Especially when we sitting abroad, when we talk about Pakistan and when we talk about 220 million plus population, the eyes of the businesses and the shareholders, they get wide open that okay, there's a big potential. Now the thing is that in that area, like we need to create some more success stories, and that's have started creating over the past 2 or 3 years. And luckily, like we have been able to grab the attention of international investors and focusing on those areas. I think the areas where it really still there's a lot gap is fintech. There's a lot gap in the fintech where the people are working on right now. The AI side, IoT side, there's a huge potential where it's untapped market till now. Okay, there are very, very few players who are just thinking or starting entering into it. So these are areas where the automation stuff, the e-commerce, the fulfillment center. So each sector which you go into, there's a still a lot of a gap which is to be filled. So I personally believe that the startup ecosystem of Pakistan is still at an infancy stage in terms of the growth, and a lot of people are focusing on it, and they are willing to support, and they have their eyes on Pakistan to be the next success story for this region.
Definitely, we've been hearing a lot of hashtags like Rising Pakistan and Digital Pakistan. And inshallah, good things are bound to happen in the future. However, moving a little bit again into the context of raising capital, a lot of times we hear that when startups are in their infancy, they make this mistake where they raise the capital, but they're unable to sustain. And we saw that. We've seen some seasoned startups also go through this, especially in Pakistan. Recently, we heard of Airlift, and then we heard of Car First being closed down, etc. Where do you think the mistake or maybe the unfortunate incidents lie?
So I think yes, it had been a bit unfortunate on these startups like Airlift and Car First, but the thing is that I would say that they were one of the initial also inspirational startups whom people followed, and really got a lot of learnings from them and learned from them a lot. Obviously, their mistakes happen during the businesses, and then you learn. It's important that you identify that where the challenges were. I think one of the things, like when you are pivoting in your startup and you just don't, realize that this pivoting is a short term, and then it might have a long term sort of much different sort of an effect, and then some alignments within the shareholders and the team and stuff. So these are a couple of things which happen during the startup things. But I believe that other than that, if we just take out these one or two names aside, there are a lot more good names or success stories which have been built and has been set good examples for us. Like Kareem is a good example for us. Maikia is there, and there are a lot of them. Bazaar is there. There are lots who have created a good success story, and a lot more. Post-X is there. I mean, there are a lot of them who are creating the success stories of these. So yes, this was a major one, which was a setback. But I think a lot of us have learned from them, and even the investors have learned, and even the startup founders have learned. So it's both sides.
Right. So coming back to your work at Tracking, right? We have noticed that there's a lot of pushback a lot of times from governments and then from the private sector as well, who don't want that sort of, let's say accountability, in terms of, even if we talk about freight hauling and long haul, we see that a lot of drivers are violating service regulations. A lot of companies allow unsafe driving practices, overload on weights, etc. Um, how do you think you can build that narrative to sort of tackle, these sort of pushbacks?
So, Ansa, I think in this particular thing, because I have been experienced myself being a transporter and being into the other side of the business of the table as well. I think they're like whatever we are saying, the real sector, the transporters who understand this business, they really want this to happen, and regardless of the regulations, they are using some sort of systems to facilitate them. So we need to bring those like-minded people and those corporates who understand this and create an ecosystem with them, that they understand that the value of this. And once they apply on theirs and they pass on that message and show some examples that what benefit they have got it, it will automatically go even if the regulation is not there. So this how the future is going, it's transforming. So it's transforming in a way that all is depending on the data. Okay, and if
Yeah.
you are not aware of what is going on with your own business, then I think even if the regulation comes, it won't help you if your mindset is not there. So I think it's about time that people are understanding this. So we need to, at a ground level, we need to create that the sense of the requirement of these type of applications and utilizations and analytical reports which can help them, and that will automatically then pass on. And
Absolutely.
yes, I would say in let's say example of UAE or Saudi, they realized that how important it is for the safety. So they applied a regulation, and that went across the board. So and it's going to come in Pakistan and other regions as well very soon.
Hopefully. Right. Now let's move a little bit to the non-technical side of things. What motivates you to get up and show up at work every day?
Well, good question. Honestly, every day when I go back, so I just see that, what have I done really to add value back to the community, actually, in terms of like when I'm not there. So will there be anything that will be remembered in a way that I have done something for the community or something for the business which I'm doing in that can go on forever? So that's something that keeps me coming back and doing, like, waking me up again, that no, let's do something different. It has to be, go on forever. Let's put some real marks, which can be remembered, and let's add value. So that's something which motivates me and excites me. And the youngsters which I keep on hiring and mentoring, and I tell them that you guys really need to grow up, and making them businessmen, like, that's what keeps me excited and motivated.
All right. What is that one thing about you that we cannot find from your LinkedIn profile?
Oh, okay. That's a difficult one. So I think you cannot find my aggression, my aggressive approach, my my tough to my people in the LinkedIn.
So
Yeah.
tough love at the workplace.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I would say that. And to be honest, I would like to add over here that, to be honest, people realize at a later stage, but that tough or the pressure, my basic objective is to take them out from the comfort zone. And the moment they are out from their comfort zone and they are under pressure to do something, and then once they achieve it, then the happiness which I see in them, then they realize that all that tough and the aggression which was, that has come up to this results and conclusions. So that's something which you might not find on my LinkedIn. Yeah.
That's very interesting. And but after a stressful day at work, how do you unwind?
Yeah, so Kite Ventures is one of the unwinding thing for me, that I pay back, and then I see that how I can help back, and then yes, spending time with my family, with my friends, meeting them and enjoying with them. So yeah, that's somewhere. Try to move out, travel for like in a quarter or so, to just to relax a bit. So yeah, these type of different things.
Important. Thank you so much, Mr. Asim. It's been an honor and a privilege talking to you. Very informative discussion. Please keep contributing to the knowledge economy. But before we sign off today, I would like to ask you, being an overseas Pakistani and being well connected to the roots here, how do you think forums like CxO Global add value?
So I think forums like CxO Global, they really add value in sharing the knowledge experience, in creating a network of like-minded people, in helping the similar like-minded people who want to come to this level and they want to see the success story and the journey of the successful CxOs. So that's an important role which CxO is playing, and I think I would request others as well who are at this level, they should join this forum, and also like other similar forums who can help and contribute and also make more entrepreneurs in our community. So like I'm a part of EU organization, that's an entrepreneurial organization. So that is
Right.
also a lot of people of such people, and they are doing great job and contributing back to the community as well.
Right. Thank you so much, sir, for your time.
Thank you very much, Anza, and thank you, CxO Forum, for having me here. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that'll be all for today. Join us next time for another very interesting discussion. Please keep us updated with your comments and feedback. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time.